The NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code NBA SGPN to get a 50% deposit bonus up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rhythm, the leader in data-driven picks and props. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Yes, sir. We are back with another edition of the NBA Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. Know me, know the voice, know the guy. It's me, a villain row. It's Terrell Furman Jr. here at your service. Okay. I mean, I think it's just me, humble bystander. I don't know any of the parties involved. I just know what I've seen with my eyes. Jimmy Butler's agent might owe Shams an apology. That's the second time he's gotten him. That is the second time. Second time that he has told him that he said something wrong. That as we look, it's clearly wasn't wrong. As Charles Barkley said last night, if you missed it, this was the worst kept secret in the NBA. We all knew Jimmy was trying to get up out of there. We all knew. I mean, Scott, if you're a sportsbook, how do you offer a line on Jimmy Butler at all? Like ever? You can't offer a line on him until he gets traded. Scott Studio Reichel. Scott, what's going on?
Scotty, beam me up.
Surprise.
See, the last question you said is important because I've been blindly betting Jimmy Butler under PRAs since he demanded a trade and Pat Riley rejected him. So I'm a bit confused by the recent update by Shams because Butler requested a trade. He spoke to Pat Riley. Pat Riley told him no. And then it comes out breaking news.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler requests a trade. Didn't we do this a week ago?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know how this is breaking news. He said the same thing a week ago, and now he just repeated himself. And then the whole, thing exploded again. I don't really understand how this is a new story. Look, I'll put it this way. I've made money fading Jimmy Butler the last couple games, and I encourage people to do it just in general because I thought that he was going to be a diva, and I thought he was going to quit. And we talked about this on the show a couple games ago. I took his unders, and you thought that he potentially would show some pride. I did not. I think Jimmy Butler's petty like this, so I'm not shocked that he's going out there doing absolutely nothing intentionally, trying one-leg Dirk fadeaways from the corner in the first game back. But I just kind of want to roast Jimmy Butler.
So it's on Jimmy. So you think it's on Jimmy Butler? You don't think that there is no part of the coaching staff that's saying, yeah, we actually just don't want, like, his version of it is that no, they are not putting me in the game plan to be there offensively. They just want me to be a 3-and-D type of person. So that's what I'm doing.
I'm 100% putting it on Jimmy Butler. Guy's taken 9 shots in the last 2 games combined. I'm 100% putting that on Jimmy Butler.
That's crazy. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm not there, but I mean,
9 shots in 2 games combined. Come on.
Yeah, but if they don't want him part of the game plan, they don't want him part of the game plan. They don't want him there. They don't want to pay him.
I think Butler, if he really wanted to, would be more involved. That's all I'm saying. But
no, they don't want to play him.
I'm not going to defend Jimmy Butler at all. I think him basically showing up and quitting on his team while demanding trades and doing, I'd say, extremely. What's the word? Like passive-aggressive press conferences. It's a loser behavior. I think Jimmy Butler has too many fans, to be fully honest with you. I think he had 2 finals runs, one which was the main one where he had the Milwaukee series. He had that crazy 50-point game. I get it. I didn't forget about the 2 finals games against the Lakers where he had a triple-double, and you had the meme of him leaning over. He's basically just quit on his team while still playing there. And then he has the quote afterwards where he talks about, I want to help this team win, but I've lost my joy on the court. And they asked him, is there anything they could do to get your joy back? And he goes, no. Well, that contradicts itself. Either you're helping the team win or you're being a distraction. So I'm against Jimmy Butler here. I think that he's getting paid a lot of money. He's a guy that's viewed very highly because of 2 playoff runs, who misses a bunch of games every regular season. He's never healthy. He takes the regular season off every year, and now I'm supposed to feel bad for the guy. Like, I understand that you want to be in a different situation, but in my opinion, punting games while you're on a roster making $40+ million is loser behavior. That's how I look at it. I feel no sympathy for Jimmy Butler at all. I think you can handle it professionally. You can stop trying to throw basically your teammates in an awkward spot by making these very awkward press conferences afterwards. We get it. You don't want to be here. I think he's punting games. That's why the way I look at it, he's not doing anything. He's taking one-leg Dirk fadeaways in the corner for 3. Look, I've made money on it, so I'm happy that I was able to predict this correctly. I think Jimmy Butler's extremely, I'd say, passive, and at least passive-aggressive, and I think that he is very spiteful, and that's why he's been on multiple organizations, and it always ends poorly. He was on Chicago. That didn't work out. He was on Minnesota. He called everybody a loser, and then he basically just beat up the starters with the practice squad. All-time great story. But he basically just called everybody in the starting lineup soft, and then he forced his way out of there. Now he goes to Miami, and then apparently he's overstayed his welcome here too, and he wants to leave. It never ends well with Jimmy Butler, and I feel like that's a personality defect that he has. I don't feel bad for Butler at all. I think that he's an overrated player who's had a pretty solid career, but he thinks that he's better than he actually is, and he thinks he's entitled to getting exactly what he wants when he's overpaid as it is. That's where I'm at. So I don't feel bad for Jimmy Butler at all. I feel bad for him if you were actually playing in the regular season all the time, you weren't coasting through the season every year, and you actually were still trying despite putting in a trade request. But watching him half-ass it, like he's Vince Carter in Toronto forcing his way to New Jersey, for about, I don't know, a decade and change ago. If you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. I don't feel bad for you. You show up, you get paid $40 million, and you're sobbing in press conferences. I think it's extremely weak. So I feel no sympathy for Jimmy Butler at all.
Wow, I couldn't wholeheartedly disagree even more.
Yeah, I know you disagree. I'm not a Jimmy Butler guy.
Yeah.
I had fun while it lasted in the prime of it, but I feel like the moments that Butler's had, the great moments I'm talking about, have been more few and far between than people want to admit. There were talks about Butler being a top 10 guy in the league after that run, and I think that's kind of insane. At no point did I think Jimmy Butler's a top 10 player in the league. And I feel like because of one playoff run, he felt a sense of entitlement, and he was put on a certain, I'd say, tier list that I thought he had no position being in. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. I think that there's probably people on both sides of the coin. From my perspective, and at least what I've seen, what I've watched, I think that there is quit on both sides. There is a reluctance on either side for a very good reason. I mean, the best ability is availability, and he's never there. And I understand why Pat Riley called him out last year, but I don't think that as an owner, or you don't see Eric Spoelstra calling out Jimmy Butler for not showing up, and that's probably the person that should call him out. But no, Pat Riley was doing it, and it's because of Pat Riley's personality. And as an owner, I think you probably shouldn't do that with somebody that's on your team. And if you don't plan on trading him, like they sound like they don't want to trade him, they'd rather just roll with him the rest of the season and then end up moving on the next part of the season. Why would you waste an entire season with somebody that doesn't want to be there? Like, and you don't want them there. And it's like as equal as you don't want them there. Like, I think that, hey, you don't want to be here. I don't want you to be here because I'm not going to pay you because I don't think you're worth it. And it's fine. Like, there's fine. We have a disagreement here. Let's all just move on from this situation rather than sit here and we're highlighting Tyler Hero. We're highlighting all the other guys on this offense. Like, when you watch the plays, there's no design play for Jimmy Butler. Anytime he scores the basketball, it's because the ball just kind of fell his way, or he took a crazy ass shot like that one-legged three.
So you
and
think,
just
in other words,
it.
you think that Hero and Bam and his teammates are basically freezing him out, or whether it's Spo?
I
I
don't think that they're freezing them out, but I think that the coaching staff is not calling the design plays that I saw for Jimmy Butler in the past. We don't see Jimmy Butler with the ball in his hands. We don't see Jimmy Butler running the offense. We literally see him running to the corner. And partially of that is Jimmy Butler, but another part of that is the game plan. So I think it's a lot, like, it's really 50-50. And of course, it's a lot easier to put a lot of the blame on Jimmy Butler. He's the player in the situation and all of that, blah, blah, blah. But I just think that there's a lot more to it. And it tells me, and this is how I'll wrap it up, that even if this gets solved with Jimmy Butler getting traded, the Miami Heat are not going to be good.
Correct. The
They
Heat
are
probably
not
need
going
to
to be
blow
a
up the
good
team.
Yeah,
So
the Heat are done. Like, regardless of what happens with this, whether they say, screw you, Jimmy, you're going to sit here for the rest of the year, then we're going to get rid of you in the off season, take the little bit of a cap hit, and we'll have some space to work with in the next season, or we're going to trade you like you want and just get you out of here and send you somewhere to go, play ball, whatever. But either way, the Miami Heat are done. You cannot, like, I don't know how you can. I guess we still take the Miami Heat as a dog, but like, there's no possibility that I could see of them, whether he's there or not, making any type of run at all whatsoever.
I mean, my I'd say stance on that would be I thought the Heat were done last year, and I thought even if Butler did not get injured, I'd still pick Boston to beat them in the first round. I don't think Miami's really been a threat to do much. That's also the problem, is that because they had the crazy finals run, despite having a low seed as basically a play-in team, they felt a sense of, I'll use the word entitlement again, where, seeding doesn't matter. We don't have to care about the regular season because we can do this despite being a smaller seed. And most of the time, the bad seeds get their asses kicked. Usually how it goes, because you're facing off against an elite team in the first round every time. So I feel like that's also an issue. The counterpoint, though, that I'll make about the Butler thing, or the last thing I'll wrap it up, I understand it's a lot easier to just think, why don't they trade the guy? I don't know what he's actually worth. And that's kind of the problem I run into for Butler, because you look at the resume, and he's had a good NBA career. Now, you're looking at his age. He's 35. You're looking at his contract. He's making $48 million this year, and he's making $52 million next year, and he's a free agent. Do people really want to pay for about $100 million left behind on a 35-year-old's contract with the new apron system? I don't know what he's worth. So I feel like the argument is, why don't the Heat just get some assets back for Butler? I don't know which teams would actually want to acquire his contract. I'm assuming one team might. I don't know if Butler would want to go there, but I feel like
I think that's a little bit, like, I'm assuming, no, there's probably a lot of contending teams that would sit there and say, you know what, we can send them anything. And
but that's my point, though. Miami's been waiting for the right trade package to come along because they don't want to lose the asset for nothing. My point is, I think teams might be lowballing
there's actually a thought process of, they actually don't lose anything if they don't trade them and just cut them. If anything, they'll just gain a little some cap to be able to move around with, and that's valuable enough. So it's like Miami really is like, well, we could trade you, we could not, but at some point, some way or another, after this season, you're not going to be here.
I think it's about the offers for me. Like, I think that if Miami got a good offer for Butler, he would have been traded by now. But the fact is, he's 35 and he's $100 million left over in his contract. I feel like they were hoping the market would be a bit higher on Butler than they actually are. I think that's what happened. And Miami said, you know what? We're not getting a deal that's worth pulling the trigger on right now. We're going to hold on to him and wait. And unfortunately, Butler's unhappy about that, and it blew up in their faces. That's how I look at it. I just wonder what the trade value is for a 35-year-old who misses a bunch of games as it is, and he's got $100 million left over in his contract. It's probably not that great. That's where I'm at.
Let's close this out with JR saying send him to the Wizards. So Ian says Philly makes the most sense in his opinion.
That would just be funny, but
it would be funny. It would be funny to watch Philly try to navigate that again.
I still think the one team that makes a lot of sense is Houston. I think Houston.
No, yeah, Ian. So Ian says the Rockets. I think the Rockets would definitely make a move. I think that if Jimmy Butler had his pick, it's very, very simple. He wants to go to either Houston or Dallas, because who would want to leave Florida in that income tax for it to go somewhere else, like a California, and pay crazy income tax? Like, nah.
Well, also a funny joke from Butler. He's like, I don't really enjoy playing basketball in Miami, but I enjoy living in. I'm like, I'm sure you do.
I bet you do enjoy living in Miami. I bet you do, sir. All right, man. Let's move on. Make sure you get the SGPN app wherever you get your apps in the App Store. You can have access to all our picks and podcasts in one place by heading over to that SGPN app. And make sure you tap into Underdog Fantasy, the biggest menu of fantasy projections, where, I tell you, I would be very, very impressed by Underdog if they even dared to drop a line on Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler, you can't put Jimmy Butler higher than any type of Underdog lineup right now. No way. NFL, college football, college basketball, NBA, NASCAR, MMA, and more. Make sure you go use a whole bunch of specials and boost over there at UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code NBASGPN. Claim your special pick and first time deposit offer to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com. Promo code NBASGPN. All right. Great discussion there. Okay. I'm really interested in seeing how the Jimmy Butler. I
It's
I
not going to
really
end
can't
well.
imagine.
I'll
I
tell you
can't
that much.
imagine. I can't imagine it doesn't end up with either either like a he gets frozen out and he's just not playing at all, but he's still on the roster, and that would be hilarious in itself. Or if he finds his way to one of the Texas teams.
To be honest, I think it might end in a PJ Tucker situation where they just pay him to be away from the team.
Yeah.
I can actually see that being a possibility in the situation.
No, it 100% could. Like, and I mean,
Shout out
it'd
to
probably
John
be
Wall.
best.
Shout out to John Wall in Houston.
It'd probably
That's
be
the
best.
vibes I'm kind of expecting from this. But
All I know is that's a marriage that needs a divorce. It needs a
Pretty much.
divorce in the worst of ways for all parties involved. But what I will tell you is that the Charlotte Hornets are on the road going to play the Detroit Pistons. Pistons are laying 7.5. 219 is the total. Injury report here, and we have for the Charlotte Hornets, LaMelo Ball is questionable with a ankle wrist injury. We have
you got to put some respect, by the way. That's Eastern Conference guard leading All-Star voter, leading All-Star vote getter, LaMelo Ball.
for the guards.
Yeah, he's leading all Eastern Conference guards by like north of 200.
I mean, is LaMelo Ball not the perfect player for the All-Star game?
He's the perfect player for the All-Star game, but I think he's a highly overrated basketball player. But I understand he has the family too, and there's connections there. But I mean, I'll put it this way: he's averaging about 3 or 4 more shots than anybody else in the entire league. So I think his 30 points on 42% shooting are not that impressive to me. But he's fun to. He's a great highlight player, which is why it works out, because I feel like a lot of the teenagers like watching the highlights. I guarantee you they're not watching full Hornets games. I'll tell you that much. But he's the leading vote getter of all Eastern Conference guards. Is the best Eastern Conference guard? Definitely not.
I don't know why you wouldn't be watching full Hornets games. I mean, well, at least when he's playing in the lineup. This is a fun team to watch when he's playing. Like, again, LaMelo may not be the perfect basketball player, but damn it, if he doesn't realize a way to entertain, and if you're not going to win basketball games, you might as well fucking entertain. And like, I don't understand why more people don't do that. Like, I could watch the Charlotte Hornets. I could go to a Charlotte Hornets game and have an amazing time. But like, sometimes watching the Wizards is really frustrating.
Yeah, very. I mean, the best part about the Hornets is you get LaMelo and you get the broadcaster. You get Eric Jones. That's basically
bro,
it. That's the only thing that they got. So I feel like, once again, LaMelo, he has good overall counting stats. I think they're all empty. I think we all know that. But the point is, fans like him because he's entertaining. Yeah. I'm not as entertained because I don't think he's that, I'd say, much of a winning basketball player, but that's personal preference.
You would like to see the wins attached as well. And
correct.
You know what? I've realized
his team stinks. I get it, but
with my proximity to the Charlotte Hornets, Scott, I've realized that the Charlotte Hornets are never going to be good ever, ever. No matter what they do, they could have the second coming of Michael Jordan himself, and they would still find a way to piss it down their legs. So the fact that they're being
Kemba tried his best,
like so the fact that LaMelo can come here and this team can be fun,
and they're talked about kinda. Like when he's involved. So yeah, I get it.
Just go be fun. I'm perfectly fine with that. The other treacherous twin, Cody Martin, is questionable for this game as well. So we got LaMelo and Cody Martin with a questionable tag. Brandon Miller's questionable. Trey Mann is out. And for the Detroit Pistons side of ball, Jaden Ivey, he's going to be out for the season with that broken fibula. A very, very tough injury. Fontecchio is out as well. Everybody else good to go here. Probably going to see Amen Thompson in the starting lineup. So a little bit of a boost defensively there for them. All right.
I mean, do you like Detroit without Jaden Ivey? That's where we got to start.
I am not. I didn't think that Jaden Ivey moved the needle for the Detroit. I will admit
I agree with you, but he's still a good player.
He's still a good player, and that's why I was like, I think he's a good player. But I don't think he was moving the needle for Detroit. I think he was just if anything, the offense probably dips a little bit. Yeah. And that's annoying for an offense that doesn't have any room to dip at all. And so I mean, this isn't going to change the handicap for me. I wasn't laying points with Detroit. I'm gonna back with Charlotte in this one, and I'm gonna take the points. I mean, Charlotte has won the 2 meetings this year, and they've both been settled by a combined of 3 points, Scott. The 2 games that they played this season where Charlotte was a 1-point dog and closed as a 2.5-point dog, they have been settled by Charlotte winning the game by 3 points. And now they're catching 7. This is like, so what are you telling me 7.5 some places? Scott, are you telling me that there's no shot that LaMelo's playing in this game and there's no Brandon Miller either? That's the only way that I could see this line being 7.5. You're telling me that, yeah, LaMelo, Brandon Miller's not playing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the counterpoint is even with LaMelo, they lost the Wizards last week. So I don't know if they could actually win games anyway. The Hornets are terrible. They're just a really bad basketball team. Now, Detroit, you could argue that with Ivy being out, that could, I don't want to say be a good thing, but the counterpoint is the ball will be in Cade's hands even more. So if you do like seeing a lot of Cade usage games, Cade's going to be the only guy with the damn ball in his hands. So if you want to go for Cade props, I don't mind that. I know JR's mentioning that for Cade Masterclass here. I think that the Pistons can get by without Ivy because the ball was mostly in Cade's hands anyway. And that's why you could argue that it was kind of a bad fit between Cade and Ivy, because Ivy, I think, is more of a ball-dominant guard, or I think he needs the ball in his hands. But you want the ball in Cade's hands all the time. Mm-hmm. There is a little bit of a rift there, and I feel like they're going to be able to overcome the absence of Ivy. I actually want to point out I'd say, return of Isaiah Stewart, which I think is a big deal for this team, because they have no front court depth at all. And Stewart coming back actually does help them out rebounding dramatically. So I do think Detroit's actually in a pretty decent spot. I picked them against Orlando the other day, and they were able to win that game comfortably at home. I liked the spread overnight when it was like 5.5, but I was going to blindly fade Charlotte until they won a game. I think this team's horrible, and I feel like this team is really only caring about LaMelo padding his stats. Like, I don't think they have any incentive or any focus on actually winning. I just expect LaMelo to jack up probably 25 to 30 shots, and they'll lose by 10. Now, I understand the counterpoint is these teams aren't very good. Detroit might be a play-in team, though, because the Eastern Conference is that bad at the bottom. But I don't want to take the Hornets. I really don't. I'll go with the Pistons, but I'm probably not going to bet the side. I'd rather bet Cade props. I think Cade's going to torch this defense.
Last five games, the Hornets are 10th in defensive rating. The Pistons are 23rd. Both two teams are about middle of the pack in terms of pace, and the rebounding edge by far goes to the Detroit Pistons. So a few extra possessions there for Detroit.
I mean, you look at the Hornets, though, and let's assume for a second that either LaMelo or Brandon Miller end up missing this game. Let's assume one of these two missed.
Oh, man, I can't. I have to have
what else do they have? Bridges had the crazy three-pointer against Chicago, but he's been a mess from 3 this season. Like, his jump shot might be broken as a separate story. What else do they have? I think Mark Williams is fine. I don't think he's, like, an amazing center, but I think he's okay. You throw in him with, like, Nick Richards in rotation. He's been good lately, yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think he didn't miss a shot in the entire game against Chicago last time out, or at least the last week, I mean. What else do they have? You have Seth Curry, and you're kind of just throwing out a bunch of young guys.
He doesn't play.
I'm saying he was playing with LaMelo being out, so they have been using a decent amount, but they don't have any depth. That's kind of my problem. I think the Pistons, they do still have Beasley, who's been incredible this season from 3 with that team. They have some guys that I don't mind on the roster. I don't actually know how many Charlotte guys I view as NBA players. How many guys do they have where you feel good about them being in your rotation? Like 3?
I like Salon and what he would give them as
he's still very young, so he's
still very young. I like him.
Can't really shoot, but he's like a backup
point guard. Yeah, I really wish they would upgrade the backup point guard position. He's cool. I think the real thing that's hurting him is the fact that Trey Mann got hurt, and he was really, really good off the bench for them. So yeah, I do think there is some depth bench issues, but ultimately, if I have Brandon Miller and I have LaMelo, I'm perfectly fine. I'm perfectly fine with this. This is too many points if both of those two guys are playing. If you're telling me that one of them missing, okay, then I can understand. But if both of them are playing, like Charlotte finds themselves competitive in games, and this could be just let's go out here and have a ball with Cade Cunningham on the other side. Like these guys are treating this like this is overtime elite. That's this Charlotte Hornets team. This is like overtime elite. So they're gonna have a ball. All right. Yeah, I like Cade. I saw the chat talking about Cade. I do like Cade as well. I think Cade has a big day. Of course, I'm betting LaMelo. Like, you can't not bet the person that's getting the most usage. Like,
you're looking at LaMelo and you're looking at Cade, and you're just expecting them to kill each other. I like the over in this game as my favorite play because this team doesn't guard anybody anyway. If LaMelo's playing, Cade might go for like 30 and 10. because he doesn't guard anybody. So I think that you're looking at a pretty, I'd say, high-scoring game to some degree. 218.5 with Charlotte's defense with LaMelo back, I think is way too low. I'll go with the over on that.
If you can get on one of them sites the over on shot attempts, just go ahead and take it for LaMelo. I know somebody offers it. Go ahead and take it, man. It's low. It's not high enough. Whatever the number they set, I promise you it wasn't.
Oh, no, I think Cade's actually live for triple-double tonight. So
no, yeah, I like Cade triple-double too.
It's a very common pick, though, so I am kind of wondering if he's going to fall short on the rebounds, but I expect 10-plus assists in this game.
Maybe do like the 25, 8 and 8 little build.
Yeah, one of those.
Something like that. All right. The Orlando Magic are on the road going to play the Toronto Raptors. Magic are laying 1.5. 216.5 is the total. Injury report here. And we have let's see. Trevlin Queen is probable. Anthony Black is questionable. No Banchero, Harris, or Wagner either Wagner for Orlando. And we have RJ Barrett with a questionable tag here for Toronto. If you didn't know, Bruce Brown is also back for Toronto. You have Emmanuel Quickley also back for Toronto. This is probably the most healthiest we've seen Toronto at all at any point in this season. With that, yeah, Toronto potentially has a chance to have nobody on the injury report by the time the game starts if RJ Barrett can go. So very, very interesting there. Catching 1.5 at home. Is this a trap, Scott?
I'm actually going to go with Toronto again.
I'm glad that you said it because I really want to go with Toronto here.
It's tough to evaluate Toronto because half the roster has been injured for the entire season. Like, you forgot Quickley was on the team. That's how long he's been out. And then he comes back and he has like 15 assists against the Nets. The Magic, I faded last game on the road against Detroit, and you could argue Detroit's better than Toronto. I think Detroit compared to full-strength Toronto might actually be closer than people might think. Like, Barnes, Barrett, and Quickley aren't going to lead you to a playoff spot, but that's a decent big three to get up on a home game against a team that's missing its two best players. That's what I'm saying. Like, Orlando's offense is still has problems because they're missing their two best guys. So you're putting all your eggs in the defensive basket, and Toronto actually has some guys that can score. Even Grady Dick, who's now basically the fourth option. We know he's a good three-point shooter. He can definitely help out with the spacing too. I faded Orlando on the road against Detroit. I back them blindly at home. They are really not a great road team. Yeah. I'll go with Toronto and Canada.
I think it's just different now looking at Toronto because you do have Bruce Brown, you do have Emmanuel Quickley, you do have, potentially RJ Barrett. Like, those are,
even Pirtle came back. Pirtle missed some time too.
Yeah, like, it just seems like all the pieces are now in lane, and with all of them there, Toronto's probably not an 8-win team. Is Toronto probably that good of a team? I don't think so, but they're probably not an 8-win team. I mean, I'm the guy that said, I don't think Toronto's going to win a lot of basketball games this year.
No,
and they haven't.
At full strength, I'd give them like maybe 27. But the point is you're expecting some guys to miss. And they're not terrible. They're bad, but they're not like atrocious.
And so let's look at the last 5 games and the numbers here. And Orlando, despite being the number one defense, a top defense in the past 5 games, they can't score the basketball.
Yeah,
they've lost everybody that can score.
You're relying on Suggs, a little bit of Cole Anthony off the bench, and even a little bit of like Caldwell Pope or Batadze. Like, it's not their fault.
Yeah, like, who is scoring?
They can't score.
We just talked about this with Charlotte. Who is legitly giving you buckets consistently? You have Jalen Suggs. Yes. Good.
And he's streaky too, but you need him to have a big game.
And then, okay, who else in the starting lineup?
I'm saying you're banking on like Caldwell Pope and maybe a little bit of De Silva, who's been very streaky lately. So you don't have many options at all.
Yeah. If Toronto's able to score, there's no way Orlando's going to be able to keep up.
That's
if Toronto can, if Toronto can get through that defense, that's a big if though. It's a really good defense.
Yeah.
Really, really. Jamal Mosley, kudos. Very, very good defense. But, yeah, I'm running. I like Toronto team total over. And if they hit the team total over, they're probably going to win the game. So give me Toronto.
Yeah, and that makes sense.
All right. Let's see here. Before we get to the next game of the slate, though, got to talk to you about mybookie.ag. You can get down on that Toronto team total over. Toronto bet over there at mybookie.ag. Shout out to them, longtime partner with SGPN. Glad to have them back. And they have a new app that had a new mobile site that has a whole bunch of props, live dealer casino, early cash out options, all of that. So head over to mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000 plus a $10 casino chip as well. That's mybookie.ag. Promo code SGPN. Yeah, I probably won't end up betting the Raptors, but yeah, I'm gonna pick them for in terms of the show because I can't get there to bet the Raptors. I don't think I'll probably get there to bet.
I think it's just deja vu because I took the Pistons the last time with the exact same number and it worked out for me. I might just be running it back with another team that's viewed below Orlando, but I think is fully healthy.
It just it just feels like Orlando now. Like it's kind of hard to bet Orlando now.
I'm not saying Toronto's good, but I think they're undervalued with all their guys actually playing for once, which has not happened for the entire season.
Yeah, I agree with you. Scott. All right. Rhythm, #1 AI-powered sports betting platform that provides all bettors of all levels the opportunity to build custom predictive betting models. I'm telling y'all, as hard as it may sound to build a custom predicting betting model, it's actually really, 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 really easy here. And all you have to do is just move the sliders over, back, forward, up, down, whatever, and you'll be able to go in there and have your own predictive betting models. Should really lock in. Looking over here at my models and let's see what Braun Breaker has going on the slate today. Ooh, let's see. Braun Breaker does like Raptors plus the 1.5. Interesting. Nice little tease there for I can't get there and just betting the Raptors just yet. Give me another game or another couple of games to watch this team. But I'm telling you, if somebody told me they were out there and they wanted to bet the Raptors, I'd be like, okay, all right. Like they've been up a little bit. They've been up a little bit. The best availability is availability. All right. Let's see here. Make sure you go get that. Get your custom betting model over there at Rhythm. That is sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. Rhythm also loves Kyrie Irving over 2.5 3-pointers. So there you go. Nice little additional play. But they do like Kyrie Irving to go over 2.5 3-pointers here today. We'll get to that game in a second. All right. Let's see. The Boston Celtics are on the road. Second leg of a back-to-back for them. Going to play the Houston Rockets. Celtics are laying 220.5 is the total. We have, it looks like, is this the one from yesterday? Yes, that's the one from yesterday. So Jaylen Brown and Kristaps Porzingis did not play the first half of the back-to-back. Pretty sure if I could think about how Houston's been playing this, we can expect to see them in the second leg and expect to see, well, for sure, Al Horford is not playing on any back-to-back. So he's more than likely going to be out. Could be a potential that maybe a Drew Holiday or maybe a Derek White, somebody like that doesn't play. So watch the injury report on Boston, but I'm pretty sure we're going to get some injury updates later on as the day goes on in that one. And for the Houston side, Amen Thompson's not playing. Tari Eason's not playing. Jock Landale is questionable.
I mean,
so we have the Ime.
Yeah.
We have the Ime Udoka revenge game. And then I'll let you say your point. I was just going to bring up that is the Ime Udoka revenge game.
I was just going to say it feels like a good spot for Houston.
It really does. You get them on the second leg of a back-to-back. It's very annoying that Tari Eason and Amen Thompson aren't playing in this game because I think they really do need the defense on the wings. And I'm probably gonna sit here and pick Houston, but I won't admit that is kind of concerning because I think that those pieces would have been really, really nice for them to just keep a consistent, healthy, able defensive body out there to just not let the Celtics do whatever they want. But I mean, man, Ime knows this team. Ime, if they're 100% locked in, he might coach circles around Missoula here. But my concern is similar to last night. Scott, what if Boston is just unconscious from 3?
Yeah, that's a problem. I mean, that's how most Boston games go. If they take 50-something threes and they make 20 of them, you lose.
Yeah.
It's just how it goes.
Yeah.
So I feel like the question is, do you trust Houston's defense actually guard the three-point line? I think I do. Jaylen Brown, though, is a shoulder issue, which could always be tricky to deal with, and they did beat Minnesota last game. So I do wonder if that bought him maybe an extra day of rest or so. I don't know if Brown's going to play or not. So that is a concern for this spot. I like the under in this game. I see a pretty good defensive battle between these teams. And yes, the Celtics can go crazy from 3, and if that happens, you're dead. It's a back-to-back with travel. Played in Minnesota yesterday, so a pretty tough back-to-back, too. But that game was close. A lot of guys played a lot of minutes. You might be without Brown and Porzingis again. Houston defensively, I still think solid. Offensively, they have some problems. I think that they are fine, but they have scored less than 113 in 3 straight games, so it's not like they're lighting it up per se. I'm going to go with the under. I think 220.5 is too high. Give me a physical game between 2 coaches that maybe have a little bit of extra intensity to them in this game, maybe. And I think the players might also follow in their lead there. I'll go with the under. Give me a physical game between 2 teams that I think are going to be very physical with each other in this matchup.
JR said that Ime and Missoula are like Wario versus Mario. Who is Wario and who is Mario? That is
I think he's saying that
question.
Missoula's Mario because Missoula has the ring. I think that's what he's kind of alluding to there.
Shout out to Kevin Nash asking, "Hey, Braun Breaker, are you in the Royal Rumble?" I will just go ahead and say I think Braun Breaker is going to be in the Royal Rumble. I think he's going to have the most eliminations in the Royal Rumble, and then he's going to get eliminated, and it's going to be his push for next year.
Okay.
Very deep breakdown there. All right. Let's see here. Man. I do like the under. I do like the under. I really would like to bet Houston. I just can't. Just not. I'm not.
It is like, a very low number against the good
and I'm almost there. I'm really almost there. If Amen Thompson, if I had Torrey Eason, if I had one of Thompson or Eason in this, I would feel a lot better. But man, dear God, if somebody comes off the bench like a Peyton Pritchard and just starts lighting them up, I'm gonna be really, really pissed. I would like to see Houston do well. Houston is so close. Like, they're really, really close. He's really turned his team around, and that's really crazy. We're 33 games into the season, and Houston's still really close, just not all the way there yet. All right. I'm on Houston now. You're on Houston?
Yeah. It's such a low number. You know what? I'll get weird with it. Give me Celtics 1-10.
All right.
But I like the under in the game.
I like the 1-10 play. It's not bad.
It's close, but I think Boston just edges them out a little bit. So,
all right. Washington Wizards on the road going to play the New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans are laying 7.5 here.
Yeah, it's honestly fair. While you do that,
7.5. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was just funny. The Pelicans are laying 7.5. 232.5 is the total. I'm glad you're queued up, Scott. Just give me 1 second. We have the Marvin Bagley is out. Bilal Coulibaly is out. And for the Pelicans, Jose Alvarado is probable. Jeremiah Robinson Earl's questionable. No Brandon Ingram. No Zion Williamson. All right, Scott, can I get the theme music, please? Jesus Christ, 7.5 in a toilet bowl? Are you serious? Are we serious right now? I mean, okay, I understand it. The Wizards are down a really good player. The Wizards are a horrible basketball team. I talked about it. They've struggled to make any game competitive at all. In fact, they have 1 competitive loss over the course of the entire season. It's either they win or they get destroyed. Completely understand. Scott, how can you lay the points? How can you lay 3 possessions with this Pelicans team? How?
I'm not doing it. Now, I like Coulibaly as a player, but I think the Wizards have actually been decent the last week. Ended up winning a game, even though Coulibaly played 9 minutes. Beat the Bulls. I did like him in that game. Besides that, they hung in there against the Knicks for about a game and a half. They lost both games, but they tried. They've been better lately. They're not good. They're still a horrible team. Don't get me wrong, but Pools randomly had a very good year I feel like people haven't realized how good Poole's actually been lately. He's been great from three, especially. Koulibaly, I think, has been solid, but of course, he's not going to play. Sars had a pretty decent showing for the last couple weeks, too. I think he's been improved as the season has gone on. I'm not laying this. The Pelicans could win, but you could argue that the fan base of the losing team will be happier than the fan base of the winning team for this game because, both teams have no incentive to actually try. I'm going to go with the Wizards here. I think they're actually live to win the game. I'm not laying points with the Pelicans. It's like a death wish. I'm not going to bother with that. I'll take the points.
Dog, I'm taking the points and the money line in this one. I mean, it's either the Pelicans get blown out or they win the game. Like, this is, oh man, what? 7.5? You could have made this a 3-point, something, and just let this game kind of go off into the
I get
wild.
on paper, New Orleans is the much better roster, but they've had a decent roster all year and they're terrible. Like, the Wizards have shown some pride lately. They're not just rolling over and getting their asses kicked. They're probably going to go back to that in a week. But right now, they've been feisty. I'll use that word to describe them. New Orleans, not so much.
I will say, despite Brandon Ingram and Zion Williamson not playing in the game, this is probably one of the more healthier New Orleans teams.
Yes, it is. Now, Alvarado being back's a big deal. Trey Murphy's been great lately. He's been really good.
Yeah.
So they still have some guys that can put up some numbers, but it just hasn't meshed. And I feel like for a team to be this bad record-wise, it's very difficult for me to lay points with this team. I just have a hard time doing it.
I can't. I can't. I could be wrong about this.
Well, if New Orleans wins and covers, great for them. But
yeah, I swear, I'm good.
I cannot see myself having money on the Pelicans to win by 8+ points in 2025. So I'm going to pass.
Three possessions. A team that's struggling to win games, and you expect them to win by 3. All right, man.
I mean, we talked about Butler and how that whole Miami thing's a fiasco. They still beat New Orleans by 11. And Miami never covers as like 8.5 points.
No, yes. New Orleans didn't even cover the 9.
They didn't even cover.
They didn't even cover.
No Butler had like 9 points.
No, there's no way. There's no way you can bet New Orleans. All right, moving on.
See, JR saying imagine a 10 in this game. It's probably $1. I'm sure cheapest ticket in the building's like $3. It's probably a decent game to actually go to be honest. As long as you don't have to pay for parking, you're probably paying like $3 to get into the building. It's probably not that bad.
Let's see here.
You can ask Zion for an autograph the entire game because he'll be sitting courtside, not playing. You can try to get some autographs.
All right. So if I was at game time and I wanted to go catch this,
I'm gonna say $3. That's my guess. Give me $3.
Yeah. Well, okay.
I'm sure there's fees and stuff, but whatever's listed, I'll say like $3.
Scott, one, we really have to get you out to the studio, and we got to get you on Prices Right, because
is it $3?
The lowest ticket is $2.
Okay, not bad.
But I'm telling you, Scott, there's only 3. There's like a handful of 2. It's really like it's 3. Like it's really 3. There's a lot of $3 tickets out there.
Okay. Once again, if you don't mind low quality basketball, it's $3 to get in the door, so it's probably not that bad.
$2. I could get 2 tickets for $2 each, and with the fee. What, Scott? The tickets are $2, and then I go to check out, and it's $20. What's going on here? This is ridiculous.
I'm telling you right now, though, if you actually live in New Orleans and you're trying to, if you live in New Orleans and you're trying to look for low budget date opportunities, take her to a Pelicans game.
Scott,
it's like $4. $4 for a first date.
No way you take her to sit this far back. No.
But you know what I'm trying to say, though. You can probably get decent seats for like $50. That's probably not a bad date activity there.
There's no way the fees for the ticket cost more than the ticket itself.
I can believe that.
The fees for each ticket is $7.09.
Yeah.
The ticket is $2.
So you're paying $9.
This is something that we really, really have to we have to start a petition, and we have to hold somebody's feet accountable. There is no way the fees for the ticket cost more than the ticket itself.
The fee itself costs about 3.5 tickets.
Yo,
which is pretty funny.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
No way. I would never pay that.
If you're in the New Orleans area and you want to go to a game, it's about $9 including fees. So there you go.
Just go to Will Call and buy the tickets at the stadium. $7 in fees for a $2 ticket? This is ridiculous. What?
Do you think like scalpers at the game are handing away free tickets? Because what are they trying to get?
Yo, just take these joints.
Just take these, please.
Just take these joints for me.
Like, what are scalpers gonna get? $1?
Oh man, we cooking this game.
You start trading tickets for Mega Millions. Like, I don't know what you're gonna do.
Nonetheless, there is a bet that I actually think you can make in this game, and it's the over. I love the over.
I mean, I don't trust anybody to guard anybody in this game. I think
Yeah.
DeJounte Murray assist is worth a look in this game potentially because he's
Yeah.
actually been pretty involved.
Yeah, I think it could be a very good DeJounte Murray game. I like the over overall, so of course I like his assists. I think there's going to be a lot of points going around. Last 5 games, 120 points per game, 24th in the league for the Washington Wizards, and 125 points per game for opponents. That is 29th in the league. It's horrible, but neither team offensive rebounds well, so probably going to see a lot of short possessions. A lot of ugly half court sets that lead in short possessions and rebounds. So assists and rebounds, I could see a lot of in this game.
I like Poole threes in this game. Poole's been really good lately. I mean, I have to at least point it out. I mean, it definitely is a low stake situation where if he's bad, nobody cares, and if he's good, good story. But he's been solid lately, and we know New Orleans is a pretty bad team defensively, so I don't mind Poole having a solid game.
All right. We've got to close that out. Chat had some additions to our little roast session. Robbie Show said that you can probably get in the door without a ticket. Honestly, yes,
You think security's
Robbie.
getting paid enough if tickets
Hey,
are $1?
do you remember the guy at the football game, and it's the viral video, and he's just
the brief little.
Yeah, they're like, yeah, just go in,
Just go,
just go,
whatever.
just go. Joshua adding, they'll probably pay you to take the ticket. Yeah, very much.
Probably.
So. All right. My New York Knickerbockers are on the road going to play the best team in the West, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Thunder are laying 4.5 here. 223 is the total. Injury report here. We have Jalen Brunson, who's questionable with the calf injury. He did miss last game. We have Miles McBride, Deuce McBride over there. He is questionable with the hamstring injury. And we have Alex Caruso, who is actually upgraded to looks like game time decision. He was out. Missed his 5th straight game. I see a game time decision, so maybe we see some Alex Caruso in this game. I thought he was out, but I'll have to double check that and see if I can get a status update on him there.
It's definitely game of the day. Both teams have been great lately.
Yeah. Ben Taylor on the call. Is Ben Taylor getting a little bit of like the bigger games now?
Well, they can't give him Raptors games anymore, so they got to give him like actual games.
I feel like I'm hearing Ben Taylor's name in some pretty big games. A lot.
All I know is that Toronto's not playing in this game and Van Vliet's not playing in this game. So the coast is clear for Ben Taylor.
All right, as you were saying, yes, both teams have been really good. Knicks have 6-3-1 ATS in the past 10 games, and
they're also 9-0 straight up. They've won 9 in a row.
And the Oklahoma City Thunder are 7-3 ATS. 9-1 for the Knicks in the last 10, 10-0 in the last 10 for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Isaiah Hartenstein revenge game here, very, very good angle there. This would be a really good game, man.
You have a team on a 9-game win streak against a team on a 13-game win streak. This is definitely the game of the day. Like, this is a phenomenal matchup. It's a Hartenstein revenge game, though, which is fun.
Yeah. Teams don't match up too often.
No. They also play very differently. So, like, I feel like it's a pretty tough matchup to fully assess. But the Thunder did play yesterday, if you care.
And maybe that could be like, the Knicks, but the Knicks are also on the first game back-to-back. So they're kind of, I think that ultimately, both of these two teams are going to play really well defensively. They've been really, really good defensively over the stretch of this win streak that they both had. And with the Knicks, they've had maybe a hiccup to the Wizards where they just kind of let that Wizards team hang around, kind of a little bit of a letdown spot. But other than that, they locked back in the second night, held them to 106. They've held Orlando, who can't score anything, 85. But 85 to an NBA team is still 85 to an NBA team. Like, really, really good defensively. And OKC has been really, really solid as well. And they've locked down defensively. I think the under is probably the way that I want to look at this. But
it's tough to go against the Thunder at home because they
really
have a
is.
really good home court advantage.
It really is. But could I see this coming down to the last shot? Yes. If I were to play this, I think I would play OKC 1-10.
I mean, these are two of probably the top 4 or 5 teams in the league. Like, this can come down to the wire. Both teams are very good.
And I just think that in the fourth quarter, I trust both teams to be able to make the shots that they need, especially if they have Jalen Brunson. I will say that I am not thinking Jalen Brunson is going to miss this game. If he does, then it's clear cut. I'm going to go with OKC, but I think Brunson is going to play, and I think that's the part that's going to make this very, very difficult, because I think Brunson will be able to Brunson and Cat will be able to hold them in the game in the final stretches of the fourth quarter, where they're going back and forth. They may be having defensive stops and need to get a bucket. I think Brunson and Cat can get that bucket, but I also think SGA can get that bucket, and this Thunder team can still be prolific as they are offensively. Which makes the total really annoying, because it's like both of these two teams best offenses and defenses in the league in the past 5 games. Very tough game to handicap. I'm sticking with the home team, Scott. OKC 1-10. That's probably the best way I play this. I don't want to take any chance with the 4.5 here, because I will admit, I am afraid. I think this can be a 1-possession game, but I think OKC can edge it out.
Yeah, so I'm going to go with a bit of a bolder play, which actually worked out in the last game, because I said the Thunder would kind of coast against the Clippers, then flip a switch, and the game would be over in about 5 minutes. Exactly what happened yesterday. I'm going to go back to that same script. Give me Knicks first half, Thunder full game, plus 550.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it just makes sense. The Thunder seem to mess around, and then finally, whether it involves, like, I don't want to say it's a prime Warrior situation, but it feels like there's one quarter every game where they're like, all right, it's time to actually just end the game. Like, I got places to go. I got dinner reservations. Let's get out of here. And they immediately just go on like a 15-2 run and the game's over. I feel like the Thunder, I'm going to keep trying to assume that's going to be the script they follow. And the Knicks start off playing well. I think the Thunder, once again, kind of find themselves in the second half and they win this home game. So Knicks first half, Thunder full game, double results, plus 550. I like that price quite a bit.
Yeah, nice play, Scott. I like it. All right. Let's move on. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers on the road going to play the Dallas Mavericks. Cleveland's laying 7.5 here on the road. Dallas total 231.5. Injury report here, and we have for the Cleveland Cavaliers, Okoro, AC sprain, is going to be out for a while. Sam Merrill is doubtful, I believe. Yeah, ankle injury. He's doubtful. Not expecting him to play. Maxi Kleber is questionable. We have PJ Washington questionable. Najee Marshall and Luka Doncic out. So it's funny, because when I went back to look at the history between these two teams, I swear I've remembered Cleveland being very, very dominant in these games. And yet everyone has been a 2-point loss to Cleveland, a 3-point loss to Cleveland, a 1-point loss to Cleveland, and then there's a 15-point loss there a couple of years ago. But I swear I remember Cleveland being up really big, and I think that was the last game. Cleveland was up big. They let Dallas come back, and they were able to still eke out a win. Jared Allen had a big game in one of those games as well.
It's really tough for me to go against Cleveland. This team's an absolute wagon.
I just don't like Dallas.
It makes sense. I mean, without Luka, you're assuming Kyrie's back in this game. It's against Cleveland.
I mean, even when Luka was there, I just kind of wasn't feeling it when he was there.
I mean, Dallas is kind of that weird. They're a weird team because they had an unexpected finals run, and now suddenly all the expectations were put back on this team. And I don't know how good this team actually is at full strength. I think that they're definitely good. I don't think that they're elite. They made the finals last year, and people were expecting them to kind of channel some of that again the following year. It could have been a one-off. Like, I don't really know. I think Dallas is fine, but Cleveland is really, really good. You can argue that Cleveland is... I mean, Boston's been messing around lately in a lot of their games.
Yeah.
If you argued that Cleveland was better than Boston, I probably wouldn't roast you too much. I would still pick Boston in the playoff series personally, but I think it'd go 7 games. Yeah. I think Cleveland's a very good team. Dallas, I don't think is that great. And Luka being out's a big deal. You have Dinwiddie, you have Kyrie, but the Cavs have like 4 borderline all-stars.
And they're beating the shit out of teams. Like, they are beating the shit out of teams.
They walked into Denver, tough place to play, scored 149 points. Like, this team
and then
is not messing around.
And then went and didn't let Golden State score anything.
No, this team's really, really good.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
And I think I've been underselling how good they actually are. They're a very good basketball team.
Yeah.
I got to go with Cleveland.
I was I'm going Cleveland. I am going Cleveland. But I'm just saying, I remember watching this game last year, and I remember seeing Cleveland up big. And so for me I have to go back and watch that game again.
Well, just
And
ask,
how they
did
blew
Luka
it.
play in that game?
I don't think
Probably.
no, I actually don't
Oh, he
think Luka
didn't?
was playing in
Okay.
that game. I think that both sides were missing people because I think Evan Mobley wasn't playing for
Okay.
Dallas, but Jared Allen was going crazy. And I'm like, dang, Jared Allen is cooking them.
Oh, no, I
Like,
remember that because
cooking.
we kept backing Jared Allen props when Mobley missed it
Yeah,
2 weeks
man.
straight.
He was cooking. He was
Yeah.
cooking them, man. Like, he was really busting their ass. Like, Afro Man. Shout out to Afro Man. Yeah, Cleveland laying 7.5. I gotta go chalk here. Like, I have to go chalk here.
It's tough to go against Cleveland. They're what, 20? What are they, 29-4?
Yeah. It's fucking
Like,
great.
it's ridiculous, but I'll
Shout out
play
to
the
Kenny
drop.
Atkinson, man.
He should be coach of the year. As a Nets fan, I knew how good he was, and then Durant wanted Steve
Yeah,
Nash.
imagine
So,
being good and then going and learning.
yeah.
Like, he was already good. He said, all right, well, let me go learn how to be better. And now,
Look, I mean, Durant and Kyrie preferred Steve Nash. So, that's all I got to say about that. I got nothing else to add there. But I'll play the drop, though, for this game.
yeah.
Who's got the chalk?
I mean, I knew how good Kenny Atkinson was, so
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I'm surprised it took him this long to
This
get another job.
long. Yeah, this long. He
But-
he was waiting for a great situation.
Yeah, he was
and then
chilling on
found
the
one.
Golden State bench, and
Yeah.
then he saw an opportunity and he took it.
San Antonio Spurs are on the road going to play the Denver Nuggets. Nuggets are laying 6.5 here. 237.5 is total. Injury report. And we have Jerry Sohan out for the Spurs and Aaron Gordon out for the Nuggets. Simple, easy handicap here for me, Scott. I have been fading Denver defensively over the course of the entire season.
No reason to stop. The last game landed like 260 or something.
No reason to stop at all. 21-10-1 to the over this season for Denver. 7 of their last 10 games, they have gone over. Gonna take that again. If they go under, I will not be surprised because the San Antonio Spurs have been good defensively, and I am picking the San Antonio Spurs not only to cover but to win this game.
Okay.
I cannot lay points with Denver, and they can't get any stop defensively at all. And yes, Denver is going to run the pace, and they're going to, try to make this a transition game and all of that. Perfectly fine. If that does not work, this is going to look like a very, very ugly basketball game for them. I don't think Denver is also that good at all ever. And if Wemby has an amazing game, that's probably what can put San Antonio over the top to make this game not only close, but also maybe eke out a win. So, yeah, I think that I'm going to roll with Wemby and Devin Vassell in this one. Give me the San Antonio Spurs plus 6.5 and sprinkle on that money line. I think they're going to get it done here against the Denver Nuggets, who I think they're due for a letdown.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to go with Denver in this game, and maybe I'm reading too much into motivation for this game. San Antonio is kind of the reason why Denver didn't get the 1 seed last year, and people might not want to remember that because Devontae Graham had a game-winning shot at the end. Wemby took over. I think Denver led by like 19 in that game, and then Wemby took over the third quarter, and the game got competitive. But I wonder if that's in the back of Denver's minds. Because the last time I believe they faced off against each other, they were up a ton at home, and then they blew the game to San Antonio. And that was the game that took away their 1 seed. And maybe they could have avoided Minnesota a bit longer than they actually did. But point is that I think you're looking at a situation where Denver maybe has that in the back of their mind. San Antonio is a team that I still don't think is that good at supporting cast-wise. Wemby, we know, has been very good. Vassell's been solid. But Chris Paul's been fine. I'll put it that way. He can't really score, but he's definitely a good leader for this team. Since Denver put Westbrook in the starting lineup, they've been great. And at least in terms of wins and losses. I don't know about the ATS numbers, but I think they're 8-2 with Westbrook starting. Him and Joker are a lot of fun to watch together. And I think that it's going to be pretty tough for San Antonio to keep up offensively with this team, even though Denver defensively is not that great. The counterpoints, Wemby's going to sit there in the paint, and he might punt anybody going to the rim, which is always a question here. But I think that Denver is going to kind of think back to last year. And I think that there's a bit of a chip on their shoulder because the last time they played in this building, they blew the 1 seed with basically an 18-point lead against this team. I'll go with Denver minus 6.5. I agree with you about the team total over for San Antonio, though, because I don't think anyone's going to guard anybody in this game. I don't mind the over because every Denver game's kind of a blind over at this point. Maybe Joker gets a triple-double, maybe he doesn't. But I see another monster game. I'll go with Denver minus 6.5. I don't mind Westbrook assists, though. Westbrook assists have been really good lately.
Yeah. Especially being in the starting lineup, for sure.
Yeah.
Memphis Grizzlies on the road going to play the Sacramento Kings. Kings are laying 3.5 here. 241 is the total. Injury report. And we have Ja Morant's out. Marcus Smart's out. Santi Aldama's out. Jake LaRuvia's a game time decision. Zach Edey's a game time decision. Brandon Clark's a game time decision. Yeah. And for the Kings side of the ball, you have Keegan Murray, who is doubtful to play in this game. Not expecting him to play. All right. Yeah. No point in time are you going to get me to ever recommend laying points with the Sacramento Kings. I will take the Memphis Grizzlies. Kings have not figured, even through a coaching change, they still haven't figured it out. They didn't even.
I just like the over in the game. Just give me a bunch of points from everybody involved. These teams don't guard anybody, and Memphis plays faster than any other team in the league.
That's also another reason that I don't trust that Dallas team. I watched that game, the Dallas and the Kings game, and Dallas is shorthanded, but come on, man,
They were up 17 in the first quarter with
they blew it. They blew it, and Kings really bad. Like this Kings team is very, very bad.
They can't guard anybody, but they can score. So I like the over.
This is a clear Memphis is a dog line, and they just do what they need to do to get this win outright, even on the road. Like the beam is not getting lit a lot this year at all. I will admit that the beam's not getting lit a lot at all this year. But the actual bet that I am making in this game is the over. I think that there's 250 here, Scott.
I agree with you.
Yeah. These two teams have been. Memphis has been really bad defensively recently. And that's out of character for them. Extremely out of character. So
it's out of character, but it's also correlated because they play so fast. They give up so many points, but they thrive on the pace.
Yeah.
It's kind of one of the trade-offs there. They kind of remind me, I don't want to say of the Kings a couple of years ago, but it's kind of that argument. Or like Indiana last year. If they are able to outscore and basically outlast you playing on basically a no-huddle offense the entire game, just going up tempo the entire game, they're going to keep playing it. It's basically where they're at, right? I mean, they just go up and down the court, and they say, we know that we have better conditioning than you. You don't have the legs to go 48 minutes going up and down the court nonstop like we can. And if it works, it works. So I think it's correlated.
A quick update on the side here. Where's the drop? Where's the drop? Have you seen the
breaking news drop?
Got it. RJ Barrett is officially doubtful for.
Of course. Okay.
It makes the Toronto pick look even uglier right now. Serious question. If you had to bet either Toronto or the Pelicans tonight, which one are you betting and why?
I'm not laying 7.5 with New Orleans. I'll pay $2 to get into the building and then not bet the Pelicans while I'm at the building. So
and get the money back.
And get the money back.
Get the money back.
Pretty much, yeah. You got to make sure you get it in person though, because once again they charge you extra for a bit of fees there.
Oh, yeah. Both these two teams, I really had a breakdown, but both these two teams are just horrible defensively. Memphis, it's been bad over the past 5 games, and it's not getting any better. The Pelicans haven't been good defensively at all at any point in this season.
Yeah.
And so maybe you could say they're due for their little stretch run. Every team has that stretch run where they figure it out defensively. I don't know if the Pelicans have that.
I'll wait for Zion to play 3 games, and then I'll call it a stretch run. I mean, they're missing their 2 best players either way, so.
Yeah. Pace is incredible. Both of these two teams, top 6 in pace. So
yeah. They run, they don't guard anybody, and I just see a bunch of points.
All right. Last game on the slate, we have the Atlanta Hawks on the road going to play the Los Angeles Lakers. 2 teams I also do not trust. Lakers are laying 2.5. 231.5 is the total. Injury report here, these 2 teams, and we have for the Lakers, it looks like Anthony Davis is questionable. He was out for yesterday, so we'll see if he'll be able to play the back-to-back here. Gabe Vincent is questionable, it looks like. We'll see if he's going to be able to play, and yeah, that's enough of that. For the Atlanta Hawks, we got a questionable tag on Trae Young, of course, questionable tag on Bogdanovich and Jalen Johnson. Actually really big questionable tag.
Yeah, it's really tough for me to take Atlanta without knowing who's playing. I mean, you're looking at the 2 best players, the 2 players that kind of matter the most for this Atlanta team.
let's talk about it. If everybody does play, you have Trae Young, and well, I actually don't need everybody. If Trae Young and Jalen Johnson play,
Yeah.
and you absolutely feel like you have to bet this game, it's late, you want to chase and tail, whatever, then, and you want to pick a side, then you probably have to go Atlanta. And here's the reason. It's not because Atlanta is like a good team or anything.
Lakers are on a back-to-back.
Lakers on a back-to-back. Lakers are horrible. Atlanta's horrible. Both teams are overrated for where their records are. I'm actually shocked that both teams are above 500. And I would say Trae Young is just like, it's going to be the Trae Young and this Atlanta team, and they do what they always do. When they feel like they have a narrative against another team, they get up for the game. And there's always been this kind of Trae Young going over to the Lakers. The Lakers supposed to be trying to trade for him, all that. Last time they played in December, Atlanta
game winner
did get the
in
win. Yep,
overtime.
hit the game winner. These games are always, for the most part, competitive, especially when the star players are playing. So if you're getting the star players playing in this game, I'm just going to say take Atlanta, take the points. But if Jalen Johnson or Trae Young isn't playing, I am very reluctant to say take Atlanta. You probably have to look towards the Lakers at that point.
I think I'm in the same boat as you. I like the over in the game. Game went to overtime the first time out. It still ended up landing 238 in regulation. Nobody guarded anybody in that game. I watched it. So I expect to see a pretty solid offensive showing by both teams. That's my favorite play if everyone's playing. I think this game will be close. Might come down to the wire. Lakers on a back-to-back is a bit of a weird spot because
Yeah.
AD didn't play in the first game. So we'll see what happens there. But I like the over in this game, assuming that everyone's going to play, because I don't expect many, I'd say, solid defensive possessions from both teams.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm at.
Injury report will clear things up. Injury report.
And if Trae plays, I like his assists. I think he had did he have 20 assists in the first meeting?
Was that game?
I thought it was. Trae had 31 points, and on top of that, he had 20 assists. So, yeah. Jalen Johnson, by the way, had 12, 10, and 7. So maybe Jalen rebounds there if he plays, but Trae assists. Anytime he plays is worth it. But he had 20 assists in the first game.
I have Jalen Johnson double penciled down if he plays, especially if there's a no AD situation. I have Jalen Johnson double written down already.
Yeah. Okay.
So I think it could might ladder the Jalen Johnson rebounds if AD doesn't play.
Yeah, and if Trae doesn't play and Jalen does, maybe you want to go for like a PRA or a triple-double.
Triple-double, yeah. We could find some. Let's wait on the injury report, and we'll circle back around to this game later on in the day. All right, Scott, let's go ahead and get up out of here. Lock dog, underdog lineup. Over to you.
All right. So for my lock, I think I actually just am going to go with the very basic play that we talked about quickly. I'm going to go with the over in the Grizzlies and Kings game. I see 240.5. There's no reason to assume that these teams are going to play slow. They're not. Spoiler. There's no reason to assume these teams are going to guard anybody. They're not. Spoiler. Just give me points. I'll go with the over. With Keegan Murray being out or projected to be out, you know who the power forward is for Sacramento?
Trey Lyles.
DeMar DeRozan.
Oh shit! Are you serious?
Over. Give me the over in that game.
But Trey Lyles had like 30 minutes in that last game.
The point is he comes off the bench, but the fact is they don't
Yeah.
really have any guys that even try to play defense. Like reading off the starting lineup for Sacramento, projected starting lineup. Fox, Monk, Keon Ellis, who I guess can guard, DeRozan, and Sabonis. That's it. And for Memphis, you have Pippen, you have Bane, you have Wells, you have Jackson, and potentially Edey. But they beat Phoenix, missing a lot of their players the last time out. Like I think that this is going to be a pretty high-scoring game. I want to quickly just pull up the history between these two teams when they face off. But the point is, I think that this total's too low. It's been bet up for a reason. I just see a lot of points between these teams. So I'll go with the over as my lock in this one at 240.5. For my dog, I'm trying to think of what I actually want to go with here for this one because I thought about a prop maybe. I think Westbrook actually might be in live for a double-double in this game. But the question is, do I actually want to bet on that? I don't know if Trey's going to play. Can't do that. Yeah, you know what? I think I am going to go with my Boulder play. Why not? I'll actually go for it. I will go with the Knicks halftime, Thunder full time at plus 550 as my dog.
Ooh, interesting there, Scott.
I see AJ mentioning Reeves. Of course, I like Reeves props anyway, but I'll get weird with it. I'll go with the plus 550. It's Friday. I'll go for a home run swing.
It's Friday. Ain't got no job. Nowhere to be. All right. From a lot. Over Denver and San Antonio. Over 237.5. Do really like San Antonio, but I'm going to take the over in the game. Come on, man. Denver's not playing any type of defense at all whatsoever. For my dog, it's quiet. The Charlotte Hornets are really calling to me, man.
Okay. I mean, if you were going to take the Hornets, you should just take LaMelo for 30.
No. So yeah, that's ultimately what I'm deciding is which player do I want to back? Do I want to back LaMelo or do I want to back Cade today?
Okay.
Because my dog has to be some type of alt PRA for one of the two. Maybe I might end up parlaying both.
I mean, if you wanted to get really crazy, you could do a reverse correlation of Cade with the Hornets to win. You could probably get a decent price on that.
Yeah, it'd be freaking amazing. But all right, so let's see here. Combos, let's go PRA. I can get Cade 50. Jesus Christ. 50 plus 240 or LaMelo. Wow, 50 at plus 225.
That's your call.
Oh, let me look at one last thing here. I'm actually pretty sold on both of these players having very close to near triple doubles, so I'll probably be betting both of them on their PRA. So for the call, let's go with I'll take Cade at home. No Ivy, and ball's gonna be in his hands the whole time.
And Charlotte doesn't guard.
25. So he's got to get to 30 for me to feel good about that. Really. So do I think Cade can get to 30? What's Cade's 30 plus points? Plus 160.
Still counts.
Yeah, it does. So I can either take Cade plus 160, or I can go all the way in on the narrative and say that he does get to. No. So, okay, this is how I'll do it. 2 bets, Cade Cunningham, kind of splitting a dog, but it's cool. I'm taking Cade Cunningham 30 plus points because I do think he'll be able to score. He's going to have LaMelo and on him a good amount of time. So Cade 30 plus points plus 160. That's on the card. I also will be betting the triple double at plus 850. I think this is a really good triple double spot for Cade. Ball's going to be in his hands the entire time. He just has to get the rebounds. All right. I feel good about that. All right. Let's see. So let me just say that again. Over Denver and San Antonio. Cade Cunningham, 30 plus points, plus 160. But I also have a triple double play on him as well at plus 850. Shop around. Make sure you can get the best line. I see plus 850 right now, but I think JR said something about a 12-1 he saw. All right. Underdog. Let's drop an underdog lineup. What do we want to do?
You want to start off with Cade?
Yeah. Let's spread the love. Let's get LaMelo in there. I still think that LaMelo has I mean, come on, bro. He's got the usage.
Yeah.
So higher 42.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
What are his threes at in this game?
I can't imagine it's not at 4.5. Yeah, it's at 4.5.
Okay, then never mind. All right.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine it wouldn't be at 4.5.
Yeah, you just want to go,
or we can go double and get 1.59 spicy.
Do I think he's going to pass enough? I'm fine with just. What are his regular points at, actually?
29.5.
You want to go with the higher on that? He's averaging 30.
He walks into 30.
You know he's going to end up taking 25 shots.
Yeah, he walks into 30 because of the volume. I'm fine with any LaMelo prop that you gave me. I would have said okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right. What else do we want to do here? What else do we talk about today?
I like Wemby threes in the game today.
Pull Joker out of the paint.
Pretty much. I don't expect Joker to go out there to guard him. He had 5 last time.
0.83.
What was that number at?
0.83x.
No, I'm saying for the
2.5.
That's actually a good deal. Most books have like minus 140 or higher. I think they have like 160 actually. So that's actually a pretty good deal.
All right. Let's throw him in there. Ooh, let's see. What I like Sabonis assists. I think that's a
I had that
point.
last game too. Yeah, I like it.
All right, so let's get Sabonis assists in there.
I mean, by the way, Wemby over 2.5 threes is minus 165 on books, so that's
Okay.
actually not a bad option.
It's not a bad price. Let's see here, Scott. Do you want to get some of the Wemby juice back and go 6.5 for Sabonis instead of 5.5? Think he gets
Yeah, that's
7?
fine. I think Sabonis has a triple double shot in this game.
Yeah, that's why I'm fine going with 6.5
Yeah.
instead of 5.5. Yeah, okay, great. Glad we're in agreement there. So we have LaMelo Ball higher, 29.5 points. Victor Wembanyama higher, 2.5 3-pointers made, and Domantas Sabonis higher, 6.5 assists. That's gonna pay 6.87x over there. Underdog Fantasy, $100 gets you $687. Make sure you use that promo code NBA SGPN to sign up. With that, Scott, anything else for people before we get up out of here?
No. Once again, should be a fun Friday card. Looking forward to it. If you're looking for me, find me on Twitter, Reichel Radio. Gonna have a tennis episode probably in a couple hours. So if you do want some tennis picks there, I have you covered. But of course, check out the NBA show and check out all the other podcasts on the network.
All right. He's at Reichel Radio, Matt really real __. Make sure you give us a follow. Make sure you give us a like on YouTube as well. Like the video, drop a comment, all of that stuff. Appreciate everybody for rocking with us. And yeah, with that, I have nothing else to say, nothing else to do. No other way of ending the podcast. Just gonna end it like this. We are out of here.